Good afternoon. A group of frogs were popping content through the woods, walking through their froggy business, I would say, when two of them fell into a deep pit. All of the other frogs gathered around the pit to see what could be done to save the friends, to help their companions. When they saw how deep the pit was, rest of them, dismayed, the group perceived that it was hopeless and told the two frogs in the pit that they should prepare for their fate now because they were all as good as dead. Unwilling to accept this terrible fate, the two frogs started to jump with all their might, with all their strength. Some of the frogs shouted into the pit that it was hopeless and the two frogs will not be able to do, and in that situation, had they been even more careful with their froggy business and been more obedient to the froggy rules and had been more responsible. The other frogs continued sorrowfully, kept on shouting that they should have saved their energy and give up, and as they were already as good as dead. The two frogs continued jumping as hard as they could, and after several hours of desperate efforts, they grew quite tired. Finally, one of the frogs took heed to the calls of his fellows and spent and disheartened, he quietly resolved himself to his fate and gave up and quietly laid down at the bottom of the pit and died as others looked on in the helpless creep. The other frog, to the contrary, continued to jump with every ounce of energy he had, even though his body was wrecked and tired with pain and he was completely exhausted. His companions began anew yelling onto him for him to accept his fate, to stop the pain and just die. The weird frog jumped harder and harder. Wonder of wonders finally happened, and he leaped so high that he sprang from the pit. Amazed, the other frogs celebrated his miraculous freedom and then gathered around him and asked him, "Why did you continue jumping when we told you it's not possible? Why did you keep doing it?" Reading their lips, the astonished frog explained to them that he was dead, and when he saw their gestures and shouting, he thought that they were cheering him on. They were cheering for him. What he had perceived as encouragement had inspired him to try harder and succeed against all odds. Strange, isn't it? This simple frog story contains a very powerful lesson. Encouraging your positive words can uplift, encourage someone, and help them to make it through and through the turmoil they're going through in the day. As well, the destructive and the negative words which you can say can cause deep wounds so deep that they can destroy somebody's will to try and resolve to just quit, to give up and let their dreams die. So share with this when you had somebody's negative comments entered your confidence or derailed your progress, or look for who in your circle of influence needs to hear more words of encouragement that you are going to give them right today.